Hello everyone. So let's discuss about list today. What is list in Python? We are going to discuss that, and we are going to discuss the interview questions. That there are so many people who already know list, but they are not able to crack the interview questions which are related to list. So before jumping about just jumping to tell about what is list, let's discuss why it comes into the picture. So before initiating the list, Python list, what we does, we all know that there are different variables. Let's take an example. There is a student. So we define a variable name and we give the name of the student, which is a string type of variable. Now we define another variable which is age of that student. Let's say student name is XYG. Let's say student name is J, and the age is 20 for example, or 15. So which is a numeric integer value, and his height is, let's say, any value 150.6 centimeter, let's say, which is again a float value. And we have some more values, for example whether he got pass or fail. It can be a boolean data type. So we have stored everything into a different storage system. Like name is a variable which is kind of a storage system, age, marks, location, it can be anything. So what happen, let's say I want one structure where we can store each and every data type all together. I can store integer as well, I can store float, I can store boolean, I can store string. It's a combination of different data types altogether. So I need a structure in Python, and that structure is a list. So what is list in a very layman term? List is a structure in which we can store integer, string, boolean, float, all the different data types at one place after separating a comma. So now list is something, in case we need to define it, list is a structure in which we can store different data types altogether. It's not like that it will be a combination of different data types only. Might be you may have a question that shall we store same data type in that list? Yes, we can store, and we can store multiple data types as well. So a very basic interview question which comes into place is like, is list an array? So many time people got confused that whether it's an array or not. So we cannot say that list is an array always. It can be an array if it is holding a same data type. So what is array? Array is a collection of similar data types that we you must have already aware of it. Like array is a collection of similar data type where we store something similar. I mean, let's say age, students age, like different students age. I have created one array which is age, and in which I have separated a different age of the student, or the entire class name, and the it can be their height, and it can be anything. Like the same data type we are putting into that. So if we are creating a list in which we are storing only age value, or maybe their name only, then it can be an array. But if we are creating a list in which we are storing their name as well, their age, their height, their location, we are storing different data types altogether, then it cannot be an array. So let's take few examples of list where I will try to explain like what are the different questions, interview questions can interviewer have related to the list. Those are the very basic questions, but sometimes you are not able to answer those. Like I mean, very basic, like what is the difference between append and extend? So if we are adding a list using append and adding a list using extend, what is the difference of their outcome? So let's take the example. Let's jump into the coding part. So how to create list and how we can apply all the compatible functions of list. So let's start. List is basically, what is list? I'll tell you first. List is a collection of multiple data type where we can store multiple data type all together. We can say that list is an array. When we say this statement that list is an array, list can be an array. It should be like this. It's not always an array. How we say this? What is array? Array is a collection of unique elements. But let's say if you're creating a list, and in that list you're putting multiple data type all together, that will not be an array. But let's say if you are storing similar data type into that list, then it will become an array. So list can be an array. It's an interview question. People ask that, is list an array? Yes, it can be an array, but it's not always an array. If it is holding similar data type, then only it's an array. So list is an array. Let me write it. List can be an array, but it's not always an array. I'll explain this statement. Let's say I'm creating this list. L1 is my list in which I'm storing multiple data type altogether. Let's say I have put it hi, Python. I have put it, let's say, comma separated values are there. Data science. Let's say test. It can be anything. So here I have just put it only string elements. There are no mixed data types altogether. So in that case, we can call it an array because it's holding a similar data type. But if we're putting some more data, like we have put it float, we have added numeric values, we have added some more numeric values. Now, if we call it, this is just a simple straightforward list, which is holding multiple data types altogether. We have a string, we have numeric, we have float, we can pass some conditional value as well into that. Now we need to check that what are the different methods or functions that we can apply on that existing list that we have created. So we'll see one by one how to add particular element in a list. How we gonna do it? In any existing list, we can add element using append function. So append is there in which you can pass any value. Let's say I'm passing Sadhna as my name. So once I run it, I call L1 and I see that my list has been updated with a new value which I appended. Now, for example, I want to check the frequency of element. Frequency of element which is there in that list, how we check it. So for example, I need to check the frequency of, let's say, hi, which is just once in my list. So it will give 1 to me. That means hi is there in that list at just one time. Just one time hi element is there in that list. Now, in case, for example, I pass any element which is not there in the list. Let's say hello is not there in the list. I see that hello I have not added. If I run it, I'll get 0, which means the frequency of hello in the existing list, which is L1, is 0. That means no hello element in the existing list. What is the next option? In case I want to basically append multiple values altogether. Append is the function which add all values one by one. We can check it out. Like if we try to add two values all together, it will throw error. And what it says that list append takes exactly one argument, two given. We cannot pass more than one value while adding the element. But in case I need to add more than 10 elements in this existing list, I have to keep calling append function by passing single element, which is not a good practice. So what I can do, I can use extend. What extend does, extend also take one argument, but it will be in a form of list. I can basically extend the existing list. List I can pass hi, or let's say some more values, numeric. I have added, machine learning. I can pass anything into that. Once I run it, I'll see my list got extended. Now the values has increased, so it is coming in the form of column now. Previously, using append, I was able to add elements one by one, but now I just wanted to add more than one element in the existing list. I can use extend. But what is the difference? I have to pass that as a list. Maybe you must have a query that in case I need to add this, but I don't want to pass this list parenthesis. I'll be adding as a separate element. So if you run it, it will throw error. And what is the error? Try to understand it. Error says that list extend takes exactly one argument. So we have given one argument, but that was just a list. We cannot pass values like this. So you have to take care of it. It's again an interview question. People ask that what is the difference between append and extend. So append takes one argument, means we can add one value at a time, but we can add a list, the multiple holding multiple values in a list, we can use extend in that case, in case we want to add more than one values. Now, for example, if I say L1 dot extend, I'll give you one more scenario of extend. In case I have a string, let's say ABC, and I want to bifurcate it. I want to add each word as a single element in that list. I have to pass A, comma B, comma C, but using extend, I can do it in a one go. You check it. What I passed L1 dot extend. ABC is a string. So once I'll run it, and if I show you my L1 now, you see that ABC has been added as a single element. I mean, it has bifurcated the string word wise. It will not work on extend this way. Maybe I'll show you. If you want to pass certain values like this, it will throw error because we cannot iterate integer object. Correct? So these are two ways to use extend. One is you can add a list to the existing list using list parenthesis. Without list parenthesis, you cannot pass multiple elements using extend as well. And with append, you cannot pass those list parentheses. I'll show you. Might be you are trying to do something like this. So once you run it, what it does, it will become one element. I'll show you the difference between this and this. You see, that is a list itself, which is as a one element. But the same thing we did using extend, it was bifurcated into different elements, right? So we have added sadhana, hi 34 machine learning using extend, but there was the different values. So maybe people can ask if I pass list using append, what is the outcome? And if I pass list using extend, what is the outcome? So you can explain it, right? So using extend, it will be a separate value, but using append, if you're passing something in list, it will be the entire list as a one element. This is at one index, which is separated by comma. If you pass something like this, so this is the major difference that we see. Now let's say if I want to copy the existing list and you want to store it to a different list, how to do it? So there is a copy function. You can copy the existing list and store it into a new list. Right, I have given this name. So once I run it, I call new underscore list. It will be a copy of L1. So this is how we can copy existing list. What if I want to delete the element from that list? So I have the option using index and using particular value. So there is a remove function. I'll show you remove. If I pass hi into that, or let's say I want to remove test. So I'll run it, and if I call L1, I will see my test will not be there. Right? In case I want to remove hi, and if I pass hi, what it does, will it remove the whole, the multiple occurrences of hi? No, it will not. It will just remove one occurrence. By default, it does something like this. So let me pass it dot remove, and you see that hi at twice there in that list. Hi is there and hi is there, but if you remove it using remove function, the first occurrence of hi will not be there. It will remove the first occurrence by default. That's again an interview question as well. You should know that using remove, if we have multiple values in the list, we can just remove first occurrence, not the entire, the different occurrences which is there. Correct? Now, in case I want to find out what is the index of a particular element in that list. So we have an index function for that. I'll write L1 dot index. And in case I want to check the index of Python, so Python is my first element and indexing starts from 0. So it says that Python is at 0 index. In case I want to check L1 dot, the index of sadhana. So I'll pass like this. Oh, sorry, I just passed.
pass. So you see that this is at 5th index. You can count and check it out, right? It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And indexing is start, last index. I'll show you the last index will be the entire list. So let's say there are multiple way to, check the index of that element. The other ways I'll be telling you, but using index function, you pass the value and you get at what position that element is there. So this is how we work it. Now, for example, I want to remove something from the list based on that position. Previously, using remove function, I directly pass the value and it has removed that element from that list. But in case I just want to pass the position of the element, for example, you're working on a project where you're getting something as a position, the two-way, and something you're getting as a value. And when you get, and you want to delete something based on their position. So if you are getting position, you will be removing it using pop. If you are getting value, you will be removing it using remove. So how pop works? Pop, if I pass 0 to this, so it will remove the 0th element in that particular list. So I have seen that Python was at 0 index. If I pass pop 0, it has removed the 0 index element from that. But in case I don't pass anything to the list, let's first check the list, the entire list. And if I run it, it will by default remove the last element. So my last element, which I have added as a list, is not there. Correct? So pop works two way. You also focus on this. In case you don't pass any element to the pop, it removes the last element, which is a default option. In case you want to remove a particular element, you should know the position. So pop works based on the position, and by default at the as a last element, it removes. So what is next? In case I want to, there are multiple options. In case I want to insert a particular element to a specific position, how append was working, it was adding something as a last element, and the same extend was doing, it was adding something as a last element. But in case I want to insert something to a specific position, so I will be using an insert function. In insert, we can pass two arguments. One is at what position you want to add something, and then the element. Let's say at my 0th index, now data science is there, but I again want to add artificial intelligence. So to the 0th position. So I'll pass 0 position and I will add artificial intelligence. Correct? So once I run it, I'll call L1. So I'll see this is added as a 0th position. It does not delete the existing value. Again, an interview question. In case you insert something to a specific position, does that delete the value? No, it does not delete. It just shifts to the next position. You see that now data science has become one index. It is not removing that, existing element. It's not replacing. It's just inserting. So you have to remember this. Insert to that specific position. Whatever is there already, it is going to be shifted to the next position. So this is how insert works. So now, let's say I want to clear the entire list. I have that option too. So there is a clear function. I can directly clear it. But let's say the reverse as well. So reverse is a predefined function there in the list, which is basically convert the index of the entire list. Whatever was the first, it become last. Whatever the last, it become first. So reverse is to reverse the entire list. This is there. Now, there is one more option, which is sorting the list. We can sort the list, but we see that here we have a mixed data type. We have numeric and we have float, we have string as well. So sorting will not work. I will create a separate list with same data type and then I can apply it. So it says that sorting does not support on two instances, which is integer and string. So if people say that I have a list in which I have two different data types altogether, and if you want to sort it, how you gonna do it? So by default, to mixed data types, sorting will not work. If you have a same data type in that list, then sorting will be working. So I'll show you the other case. For example, I have created a list which is certain numeric values, or let's say float as well, and I have given in a unordered way. Let's say I pass 3 again. So once I run it and I apply sort here and I again call L2, it is sorted. You see, it has sorted in a increasing order. So this is how it will be working on the string values as well. It will sort those in a alphabetical order. So the next option is clear. In case you want to clear all the element of your list, it will clear, but it will not remove the structure. Basically, L2 will be a list itself, but there will be no element. So once you run it, if you see that L2, that's a list. You can check the type of that L2 as well, which is again a list. But there is no element. And in case, for example, I have created one case list, it was L1, and I want to see, you remember that we used a count function. Count function was doing, checking out that how many times that variable was there in that list. And if that variable is not there in that list, we used to get 0. But in case I want to check the what are, I mean, how many total elements are there in that list? So we have a length function. So length function you can apply directly on that list. You will see that 12 elements in that list. Now again, I'll tell you one more scenario of list. We have used the index function. What it was doing, it was checking the index of the element in that list. In case I want to check the value at what index, what is the value. So you can do indexing this way as well, using square brackets. So in case you want to pass 0, so you will get element. What is the difference between this index and these square bracket indexing? It gives you the position of the element, and it gives you, if here you pass value and get the position, here you pass position and get the value. So again, people can ask, in case I want to get the position and in case I want to get the value of the element in that list, what are the ways to extract it? So index will give you the position, and in case you want to get the element at that position, let's say one way is at what position index, let's say high is there in the list. So I will be using index and pass high, and it will give me the position. In case I want to see at 0th position, what is the value? So I'll be using square bracket. And in case I want to extract a range of elements, I can do that too. How I going to do it? With square brackets, I can pass a range. Let's say I want everything which starts from 1 index and goes till 5. So if I run it, it will exclude the last range. Exclude last range. You always remember it. A last range is excluded in most of the cases in Python. So you see that, let me call this L1 here. So we can see what is there at 0 index was A, B at 1. So it starts from B. Then C, which is 2, then 3 and 4. It takes till 4th index. Last range is excluded. If you need it till 5, so you have to pass 6. And in case I don't pass anything as a first range, I just pass it like this. So by default, it takes a 0 in range. So it will start from 0 itself and goes till 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. And if I pass is like this, 5 colon, and I don't pass the last range, so it will start from 5th index and will give you the element till the length of this list. Basically, it will run till the end of the list. So these are the elements which starts from 5 index and goes till the end of the list. So this is how it works. And the other way is, like, for example, this is my list and I want to, extract this particular value, let's say 23. I have two options to reach to this position. One, I can start from there, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And I can start from the right side as well. I mean, from the bottom as well. So we call it a negative indexing. 0 indexing starts from 0. Positive indexing starts from 0 and negative indexing starts from -1. So if I say -1, so it will take the last element of the list. If I say -2, it will take the second last element of the element, and so on. So this is how it works. That's it for the list today. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.